discussion. Okay, let me launch the tool. So quick recap of what we have done. We have discussed till this cleanse functions. We just started the cleanse functions. I just gave you an introduction on how to create a basic mapping and a cleanse function. And today we'll go to the more advanced options. Yeah, okay, so it's good. So we'll start with, I'll give you an introduction on the profiling, and we'll start from there. We'll try to understand what is the role of profiling and all that. And then once that is done, then we'll move ahead to the cleansing part.
Hey Sunil, quick question, right? For IDQ, do you have any plans of giving a training in the near future?
IDQ, yeah, I'll be starting a batch, but I'll inform you. Okay.
Okay, I was wondering, could you, if you have a chance, could you say that like when IDQ is directly integrated with MDM,
Uh-huh.
where it changes, would there any be anywhere in the agenda you're going to discuss that, Sunil?
Yeah, I'll tell you how you can configure those. How
Okay,
do you
okay,
integrate
thanks.
IDQ? Okay. So, okay, we'll open this document. It's better from here. Here I have mentioned it clearly. Just 1 second. Sorry for that. So, yeah, you can track from the software development lifecycle point of view. I think you're already aware of the SDLC, but I'll just give a quick overview. See, first the requirement starts with the client. There is a business requirement for that, and then they discuss it with the data steward to uh, finalize the requirement, and that is called as a business request (BR). Then the BR document is created. Then, together with the architecture, the BRR, a business request review document, is created. It is nothing but a high-level overview of the things, and here estimation, everything is done. And this is from here to here. Actually, it is completely business thing only, from client, data steward, and architect. And from this point onwards, the technical implementation actually starts. So this is the data profiling is something that happens uh, between business. This is business, and this is the technical side. Okay, so between business and the technical side, data profiling is something that happens. And data profiling, you cannot say that data profiling is completely technical or completely business. It's basically a bridge between the business and the technical person. The role here is, see, when a BR or a BRR is created, so first of all, the most important question is, can a particular source system, when we talk about MDM, MDM is all about integrating different source systems into the master data. Okay, so when we're talking about that, the first thing is, there are certain important questions that needs to be answered. Can we integrate? See, this is the first question itself, because there are some source systems which will not agree with your standards, or you can say the data quality of those source systems are very bad. So it's better not to integrate those source systems with your MDM, because what will happen? if you integrate those systems is they will pollute your data quality. Okay, so this is the first question, important thing for business. And how much effort, effort means actually if the data quality is bad, then let's say if we want to clean it, then how much time and how much effort will it take to do that. Okay, so to answer both these questions, and this is how much effort to integrate. Okay, how much effort will it take to integrate the source system with MDM? So to answer, see, these are the two most important questions. Okay, because based on this, how much effort and everything is needed, and can we integrate or not, the lot of things will be generated as a result of this. That is like the mapping sheet, the matching sheet, because these two are very important. The mapping sheet, I'll show you the mapping sheet. The mapping sheet contains what needs to be mapped and what are the different here important thing is different type of cleansing, standardization, then your validation, okay, and enrichment. All these things actually happen in the mapping. Okay, and then the matching sheet and the merge rules and the matching and the trust rules. Okay, the trust calculation, the matching calculation and mapping sheets, they happen as a result of these questions. And to answer this, first of all, these two questions, we need to analyze the data, because how will we understand that? See, the first question, to answer the first question, can we integrate the source with MDM? To understand this question, we have to analyze the source system. To analyze the source system, there are multiple ways. Okay, and the best and the easiest way is called as data profiling. Data profiling is something, it's nothing but analysis of the data. There are many technical terms like data profiling, data discovery. Okay, so data profiling is nothing but to analyze a certain set of data. Okay, either it could be relational, flat file, XML, or it could be literally anything. So you analyze means what you do, you analyze the data means you try to understand the patterns. First of all, the data quality, the valid state, the frequency and uniqueness, then nulls, then special pattern. There are, these are all the important questions, especially these are nothing but all these things that we are doing as a to understand the data quality of the particular thing. For example, you take any file, then what you need to do is, I'll show you one report. For example, this, and where to do this data profiling. This data profiling is typically, if you have IDQ installed, then this can be done in the analyst tool in IDQ. Or let's say if you do not have IDQ or anything, then you can use any data profiling tool. In online also you can get free data profiling tools, so you can use any data profiling tool. Data profiling from technical point of view, it's very easy, because all you need to do is you just take the file, then you put it in that data profiling tool, then it will give you the output. So that is easy, but to read the output and to understand what it could mean, that will that's you need some level of expertise for that. For example, I'll show you. See, for example, see, this is a profiling report, and it's on some SAP source called as SAP underscore CM. Okay, so we'll try to understand this. Let me go here. See, this is the file. Okay, SAP sold, this is the name of a file, and this is the first column of the file. This is the second column. Similarly, all this you see here, these are nothing but, see, these are all the different attributes, or you can say column. This is the file. Okay, and this, how many columns you have? You have around 20, how much, around 43 columns you have, and you can see this duns, this is nothing but the duns number, Okay, similarly you have many different types of columns. There is one doubt: do we do data profiling before or after selecting them? Could you please share this file? Yeah, I'll share this file later after the class. And yeah, data profiling, see, that's what I'm telling you. Data profiling is something that is before the technical thing. For example, see, the technical thing starts from MDM here, right from the landing to the staging, and before that you have an ETL, okay? And see, and even before the ETL, that means before the technical requirements even start up, data profiling is something that comes before the technical things. So you can say data profiling occurs. I have written here, I have written that the data profiling happens after BR and BRR, which is actually not true. The truth is it will happen parallelly with the BRR and the BR. Okay, because um, the data steward can only create a BR and the architect can only create a business request review if they have knowledge on the source system. And to get the knowledge on the source system, they need the data profiling to be done. So data profiling, this step that you see, is typically happens parallelly with these two steps. Okay, so it will happen parallelly with these two steps. So you can say it's on a very high level. Normally a developer will not have any exposure to this, because normally when the developer gets a requirement, so already these things are done. For example, let's say the developer gets a requirement on the month of June, so probably data profiling would have been done before, you can say, mm, April, before May or April, or you can say before 2-3 months, the data profiling would be done on that particular thing. Yeah, BR and BRR documents I can provide you, no problem. These are from my previous project, but no problem. I have it. I'll remove the tagline for that, so that there are no copyright issues, and then I'll send that to you. Okay, just try to understand what we do in a data profiling. Data profiling, technically doing a data profiling is very simple. For example, see, what we do is you take the source and then you put it in the data quality engine, and then you get this as output. Okay, for example, the customer column in this file, how many rows are distinct, sorry, how many total rows are there, how many distinct, you can see 100% is distinct here. Okay, and how many nulls, how many percentage null, what's the data type, and what are the minimum values, maximum values, and special pattern. This is important. This is important because based on this only you will be able to create this mapping sheet and the matching sheet. The trust rules. See, let's try to understand how it impacts a trust. First of all, how trust rules are determined based on this profiling. For example, see this. The trust is, first of all, it's very simple. The thing is, the the first qualification to give higher level of trust is that the column should not be empty. I mean, should be filled mostly. For example, you can see the customer column here. It is 100% unique. So on this first level itself, the trust should be on this first node, on this node, that the distinctness is very high, so the trust should normally be high. And again, it will depend upon the business situation, that is depending upon the priority of this particular source system, we will further increase the trust level. But let's say if the trust uniqueness is almost like 20 percentage, then even if this source is important, still the trust cannot be high, because most of the values are empty, so you cannot make this column very high. Okay, so that is another thing. And let's go back to this one. This one, you can see this contains only one value, that is NL. Okay, so how does this help? For example, NL means Netherlands. Okay, so only it means the company code is only NL. It means that it is clear that the this file, or you can say this source system, has only customers related to Dutch, that is Netherlands customers. So here it means that when you are creating a mapping sheet, let me open the mapping sheet. When you create a mapping sheet here, then this country, you'll be sure that that country provides only values to Netherlands, or you can say NL, and it doesn't contain more than one value. So this is how you can create this mapping sheet. You can understand and you can create this mapping sheet one by one. And to understand the cleansing, what are the cleansing we'll be using. So just see this. For example, this is standardization. Standardization means you can see there are many types of format. Open, there are some internal formats. Okay, so we need to convert this into a particular output format. Okay, and that will be called as standardization. Standardizing it to a certain part. And name also. Actually, this profiling what you see for name is not enough, because you can see it is uh, some values are there. For example, this is not a valid name, www something. So this is also not a valid name. So you have to analyze all of these things, and then you have to understand that what are the cleansing that you need to apply. For example, here you have to first of all decide, are you going to accept this customer or are you not going to accept. If you're going to accept this customer into your MDM, then you have to decide what is the cleansing that you're going to use. How do you clean this data? Do you keep as it is, or do you clean the data? So you have to do actually this on the name. The profiling level that is done is not enough. More profiling should have been done, or more on more patterns. So this is not enough on name, and many different types of names. For example, here also you can see 331 values are having blank. The street name for 331 is blank. So you can see that these 331 customers, you cannot accept these 331 customers. And once you do all of this, and this is on the house number extension, and it is just on all the things. And then once that is done, then depending upon the requirement, if the organization, if the client is asking you to actually match it, then you have to use something like external matching that I told you. The external matching, you have to use it to see, this is a validation report. You have to validate the data to understand. For example, the source you have to validate against your MDM to understand how much percentage is valid or not. This is actually based on the report that I mean this report only. Based on this report, we calculate the validation report. And the more important thing is the matching report. Where is the matching? Yeah, the matching report. So here you will do an external matching with the MDM to understand actually how many percentage of the customers are actually present in your MDM. Okay, so we have not actually integrated this system. We are not integrated this system yet with MDM. But what we are doing is we are just roughly matching this customer list, that is around 89,000 customers, with the MDM, with our MDM in an non-production environment, but production-like data. Non-production environment means UAT, something like UAT, user acceptance test, that contains production-like data. Okay, so many different, based on different. See, these requirements will always differ from mapping to mapping. Sorry, from customer to customer, how the requirement is, and you do not need to worry because you will not be doing any of this. Okay, because this is a separate role. This is the role of a data profiler. Okay, so you normally you will not be involved here, because you can see here that not much MDM knowledge, not in much MDM tool knowledge or something is needed to create this report and all that. Basically, you need knowledge on the complete overall system, and on an overall basis, you need the knowledge of MDM. And you can see the matching you have to do on different levels to understand how many customers are there and what you have to map. So based on all of these results, this is a very recursive and long exercise, and based on that actually you will create this the business analyst. Okay, the business analyst, he will take the input from the data profiler, and then he will create the mapping sheet. For example, this is a mapping sheet which tells you how to map data from a landing table to the staging table, and also there will be a mapping sheet for ETL guys. Okay, so this is the mapping sheet for MDM. from how to map data from the landing table to the staging table. Similarly, you will also have a mapping document to map data from the sources into the landing table. That you do not need to worry, because that's not your job. So we are talking about this. For this also there is a mapping sheet. I think most of you are from Power Center background, so you must be aware of this. But even if you are not aware, still no need to worry, because that's not your job. Your job starts from here. So how to create a mapping sheet from this to this, and then how on what is the tokenization key that you have to decide, that you can decide once you do the data profiling, and match and the merge. When you talk about merge, it's basically the trust rules that we are going to play with, because there isn't much in the merge. Okay, the important thing is the trust, how do you configure the trust and all that. And match rules, that you will learn later, how depending on the pattern of the data, how you create the match rules. So you have to understand this data pattern very nicely, so that you can create the match rules properly. Okay, so that is about profiling. I'll share you this report, you can go through this also. Anyway, this is an advanced level of profiling, because it involves validation check as well as mapping check. This is a matching check, and you can see it's a validation check as well, based on the address and all that. You do not need all this as an MDM developer, because this is a completely different role. But if you are interested, then you can go through that. Okay, so that will be it for the profiling, and we'll start with our session online. I think this one, right? Yeah, this one. Okay, so what we'll do, we will quickly start with this cleanse functions. So I think I've already given you an overview of the cleanse function, what it does. A cleanse function is nothing but that is used inside a mapping. For example, I just created one basic mapping. This is one mapping where you can see we are transforming the data, or we are cleansing the data. It could be anything: transformation, cleansing, enrichment, standardization, validation. You could do any of the things here. Okay, and basically there isn't much in the mapping, because if you understand the cleanse functions, then mapping is a very simple thing. So we'll try to understand this cleanse function. For example, uppercase is one cleanse function. So to understand cleanse functions, you go here, and I have already given you this brief of this cleanse function. This is uppercase, this is trims means removing spaces. Title case, I think you can try that, it's very easy. So this is nothing but, I'll go through this quickly, because this is very easy and you can go through that later. Okay, so Sunil Kumar Mohanty, so SKM, this is in capitals. Substring is substrings, extracting a part of it. For example, Sunil started is by default 0. 0 and 1 both are same things. Okay, and length, let's say if I put it 3, then it will extract initial 3 characters. And let's say if I want UN, so I have to start with the second, and UN means 2 characters, so UN. So its substring is nothing but, you already know, I mean, how to extract a particular string from a part from a string sub. So input, this is nothing but split and reverse. This is also simple. Let's say I do not give this, then what will happen, it will simply reverse the thing. And this is R padding, L padding. I think you already know what is R padding, L padding. I don't know if I've gone through this last class, but let me quickly go through that. So L padding is nothing but, let's say Sunil, and I want to make this as a length 10. So you can say Sunil is 5 chars and remaining 5 char is left. So that I can pad on asterisk or anything. If I do that, then you can see on the right hand side 5 asterisk is added. And let's say if I make it 15, then 10 spaces is added. And let's say if I make it only S, then you see that 14 asterisk is added. So this is simple. Okay, and the regular expression is based on a particular regular expression. You can extract information. For example, let's say this is my phone number. See, these all these functions that you're seeing, they are Java functions. They are created by your MDM. I mean, by default they've given it, but you can also create your own functions. The problem with this function is there is no documentation. For example, what is this string, what is this expression, what is this group, what is this thing. You will not find documentation about any of these functions anywhere, because I don't know why, but Informatica does not provide any documentation for this. So anyway, so let's say I want to extract based on this pattern, I want to extract this.
Sunil, as a, I mean, the MDM Java developer, you can create functions on our own. Is it that what you're saying?
Correct. I'll show you today.
Okay.
Okay, so this is nothing but based on a particular regular expression. If you want to extract a string using a regular expression, for example, this is nothing but it's extracting 10 numerics. Okay, so if you know regular expression, you can use regular expression to extract it. Remember, this is only for extracting. Okay, this is only for extracting. The validation part and all that, you will see there is another regular expression function that we are going to create. This is, remember, this is for extracting only. And padding, this very simple padding, lowercase left L pad, already I told you R pad. Then format, converting a string to a particular format. This is useful sometimes, because let's say if you want to convert a phone number, okay, you can see this, see. And if you want to use any of this function, how do what you need to do is, the only documentation to use this function is in here. You will not find any documentation anywhere else. Okay, so go through this. So what it is doing, you go through that and see the usage. For example, this converts this particular thing to this. For example, if you want, let's say your phone number, if you want to store it in this format in MDM, and you're getting in the source as this format, then you can convert this to this very simple. And default value is, if you're getting this is useful, this is very easy, but I'm going through this because this is useful. So Sunil, you can see the output is Sunil. Okay, and let's say default, look at D. So you can see, because value is there, no default is coming. But if I remove this, then you can see the output will be default. So this is easy, but this is very useful. Concatenate is simple. Concatenate, I'll quickly go through that. See, I'm not actually I'm not going through these functions because these functions are very simple. So I don't want to waste the time in these unnecessary things, because there are a lot of important things that we need to cover, and there are mappings, there are matching and everything. So these are very simple, so that's why I'm not going through these functions. These are very simple, I would say. For those who are not in from power center background, even for those who are from power center background, they will understand in a few seconds itself. But for those who are not from power center also, you can very easily understand. What to do is, you after this class, you go through, you open this tool, and then you go through every function, you read what is written here, then you go to test here, you test it with different set of data. See, only when you test it, then you will be comfortable with this. Okay, so these are the different string functions Informatica provides by default. So this is the string function. And noise filters, this is created by the user. Okay, so you do not need to worry about this, because we will be creating our own noise filters, so no need to worry. Miscellaneous function, yeah, these three functions that you see, these are the three most important functions. Okay, so there are many functions that you'll see in MDM, but out of those many, these are the three things. The reject is nothing but how you can reject records manually, because as of now, you know that records can be rejected automatically. Okay, but this reject function tells you how you can do it manually. So this is very important. Read database is nothing but lookup. So for people who are from power center, if you know about lookups, this is the same functionality as lookup. Okay, so we'll cover that. Now is very easy, so we'll cover these three later. And math function, yeah, this is not needed. I mean, you are not going to, first of all, I told you already that you will not be using any facts here in MDM. So basically we are not having much numerics. All we have is like account number, but anyway, account number is like an even if you say it's a fact, then it would be like a non-additive fact something. So there's no point in adding, subtracting an account number. Okay, so basically these functions are not of much use. You can see the function type is a Java function. Here also in the string functions, you can see all the function type is a Java function. I'll tell you what all this, why it is written like a Java function here. And logic function, see math functions you neglect it, it's not needed. Noise functions, noise filters, I'll tell you because these are created by someone, so we'll create our own noise filters, so no need to worry about this. But yes, this logic function, this is important because this is just a check that a particular thing is there or not there, it is null or not null. So all the logic functions that you see here is, they are all very important. Okay, for example, if date is null or not, if string is empty or it is null, okay, or nut, compare string, compare floats. So this is very easy because you already know. For example, is string empty, it means, see, if the string is empty, for example this is empty, then what is the output? The output is true. If I fill something, then the output will be false. So this is very easy. Is string null, what does it means? The string is null, so the output will be true. And if I fill something, even if I fill a blank, so I clicked on this, it means I filled it with the blank, so the output will be false. So this is very easy yet very useful. So after this class, what you do is you go through this, you check on all of this, you read what is mentioned here, you go to test and you test the function. So this is important. Logic function, concentrate on logic functions, string functions. This is not needed because anyway this is of no use for us because the cities list and all that, this is related to US population, that also limited, but this is not needed. All of this geographic is not needed. And we can also delete this, but let it be. And this is nothing is there. Yeah, this is also important. Data conversion is very important because if you want to convert a string to date or date to string, or let's say any format to any format, for example convert format date, so what this does, converts a date to a string. Okay, similarly if you want to do the reverse, parses a string to get a date, so this is the reverse. So these are conversion functions and they are very important. Okay, so when we will be using this, for example when we create our mappings using this uh, mapping sheet, we have to use this mapping sheet I have created in such a way, I have designed this in such a way that you will need the almost all the functions that you see, all the important functions, you will need to use all these important functions to accomplish all these things. For example, this single thing, name validation, remove noise digits, trim title case, and null check. To accomplish this, it looks like a very small thing, but this will take almost like half a class to explain you how this thing works. And this is also blank, so this is not needed. Let me remove this. By default Informatica provides it, but you do not need them, most of them. So the only thing that is important is string functions, miscellaneous function, logic functions, date conversion. These four things are important, and you see these four things are created by default. It means that they come up with the product. Okay, so you do not have to do anything to get them displayed here. Okay, so they'll automatically be there, you can directly use them. But the thing is, you can see that this is not enough. The all the functions that you see here, how to add the deleted functions. Deleted functions means the function that I deleted, there are there are three type of function you can see. It's a user library, it's a Java library, it's a IDQ library. So three types of functions we can add it. If you have deleted a Java library, you can easily recover it. If you have deleted a user library, you cannot recover. and if you have deleted an IDQ library, you can easily recover. So now see, let's try to understand. First of all, as of now, you would have already guessed that I already told you that MDM is not a DQ tool. It means it's not a data quality tool. So MDM is for master data management. So, but the problem with master data is the source systems will always have bad data quality. So you need some level of cleansing. So that is why Informatica MDM provides that level of cleansing to make sure that you clean the data. Okay, so so you can see the cleanse functions here. What we can do is there are two options here now. So there are two options. I can extend this cleansing feature, or what I can do is I can outsource cleansing. Outsourcing cleansing means outsourcing it to a data quality tool or an ETL tool or uh, whatever it is outside the scope of MDM. So that is outsourcing the cleansing part. The way the resources are outsourced, this is the same thing. And the first thing we are interested in, how can we extend this cleansing feature? We can extend this cleansing feature using three things. You can see here, you can, when I right click on here, first take log and then right click. When you right click here, you see add user library, add a Java library, add an IDQ library. So I add an IDQ library is a recent addition, whereas add user library, that is the most important part. Even if you normally, you will always use add user library because there are many important things. For example, I'll just show you. You can see add a graph function, a regular expression function, add a cleanse list. These three are very important, and all these three things you can do once you add a user library. Okay, 1 second. Once you add a user library, you can create your own functions. Okay, but first of all, this is important. So before we start this, first of all, let's try to complete and understand this. Add a Java library. Add a Java library means it's very simple. Sorry, I'm having some cough, I think. See, add a Java library means the logic is you create a program in Java. Okay, you create the program in Java, and then you can export that program and import it here. For example, I'll just show you. For example, see, this is a Java program and this is the compiled class. So for example, see, this is a Java program. See, you do not have to be an expert to understand this program, because if you know very basic level of C or some program, then you can easily understand. Okay, so what this Java program does is, for example, see this uppercase. What is this uppercase? What it does, you type something, then it converts that to an uppercase. So what is happening here? You have an you have an input, you have an output, and then you have an input, you have output, and you have certain level of code that does the transformation. For example, you can see here Java function. Why it is written as a Java function? It is written as a Java function because this uppercase, this was actually imported, this was created in a Java, in a Java code, and then this was imported into the MDM. And who did it? the the MDM guys, when before the installation itself, they have done it. Okay, but if you want, you can further enhance this. For example, what you do is you can create a Java program. To create a Java program, you must use this particular package, okay, this cleanse package, and then you import all of this thing, And then see, for example, I'm just going through this very simple example. This is one CB person. This is person, or yeah, this person. This is a very simple example. I'll show you. See, it's what it is doing is it is extending the functionality. For example, it is this code, this 1 2 3 4 5, this all five are, it's defining as the parameters. And you can see these are the input parameters, these are the output parameters. That is nothing but this is the input and this is the output. So this, it is defining that here, and then it is creating the logic here. What is the logic? If name, that is if the first name, that is this name, if the first name is empty, then it will throw a message that cannot be null. Okay. And similarly, on the last name, the same thing. And date of birth is, if you put a date of birth after the system date, then you'll see it will throw an error. And what you do is, once you do that, then you have to open it in the Eclipse, this particular Java code. You have to compile it. Once you do that, then you export it to a jar file. For example, this is a jar file. You have to export it to a jar file. And then you can, what you do is, you create a Java library and just upload that thing here. This is a user exit program, so this will not, this will throw an error. But when you do it, this will work properly. For example, if you go here, you can see this particular code, CV person. This is the same code as this one that was imported earlier. Okay, so this is the cleanse function, and this is the code for the cleanse function. The code that I was showing you, sorry, not this code, this was the code. Okay, this is the code for this particular cleanse function. This is very easy. For example, I'll just quickly show it. Sunil K. So I tested. So validation status, I'm not getting any validation status. I'm getting it is blank. It means it is valid. Okay. So what I'll do is I'll remove this. So it means the first name is null now. So just see this, test it. First name dot cannot be null. From where it is getting the message? It is getting the message from this particular code. First name cannot be null. Okay, status appended, first name cannot be null. So this is very simple. So this is how you can enhance the function. But remember, this is just a feature. It doesn't mean that you are going to use it or the developer is going to use it. The reason is uh, already all of these features are already provided in an ETL or DQ tool. So normally in your company you will have an ETL tool or a data quality tool. So instead of creating the code from scratch in Java, it's better to use something that is already there. Okay, so you can use it, you can use a data quality tool rather than creating the code in Java and all that. But anyway, this is how this is done. Not used much, but still it's a feature, I mean, can be used. And then the second, take a look, let's go back to our, okay, and then just take the log. So that's the Java library. IDQ library is integrating the IDQ cleanse engine into the MDM. First of all, see, these are all Java library, IDQ library. They are called as external cleansing. Okay, so you invoke external cleansing from here. I'll show you the document once. You go to the cleanse adapter guide. There you will see that you can integrate address doctor. Where is the cleanse adapter guide? Yeah, you can integrate address doctor. You can integrate Oh, sorry. Actually, I'm coughing continuously. That's why I'm muting coughing and then muting coughing. So I muted and I was speaking. Sorry for that. So what I was saying is these are the different external cleansing that you can configure. This first one is IDQ. That's the most popular external cleansing. The second most popular is the address doctor. But address doctor has a different purpose. Okay, address doctor is for address cleansing. It's nothing else, only address cleansing. This IDQ cleansing, this first logic, Trillium and XI, SAP XI, these are for generic purpose, but address doctor is just for address cleansing. If you want to see how address doctor works, then you can go to this ORS sample and then you can see the address doctor here. This is the address doctor. Uh, and remember, first of all, they do not come by default. Do not come by default means when you install this product, then this, for example, this SAP data XI services, you can understand easily that this is a product from SAP Corporation. Okay, so this is not a free gift from Informatica. This is something that you need to purchase. When you work for a company, you need to purchase a license for this or any of this. You need to purchase a license, and here it is written how you can configure. For example, if you want to use address doctor, you have to purchase the license for it separately, and once you purchase the license, then you need to configure it. So the configuration step is very easy. It's not difficult. You can see it's only 1-2 pages configuration.
Yes, Sunil, but address doctor is whose product is it?
Address doctor is, sorry?
Sunil?
Yeah.
Whose product is it, address doctor?
Address doctor is actually was a separate product, but now it's a Informatica acquired address doctor. So Informatica is now selling address doctor. But originally it's not Informatica product. I think they acquired it 2 years back something.
Okay. Okay.
So they have the ability to validate 240 addresses, and every 3-4 months they keep on changing the updating new version. But the logic is very simple. The logic is just to validate an address. Okay, that's what it does. So people who are in IDQ, worked in IDQ already, they already know, because address doctor is already also there in Informatica data quality. So but this is actually not Informatica product. Okay, so this was acquired by Informatica recently. Similarly, you have Active VOS. Okay, Active VOS. This is also not Informatica product. So this is also acquired by Informatica. In fact, MDM, I already told you, right? This MDM product itself, what you're seeing, is originally called as Hyperion MDM. And you will see that in interviews and in job requirements, a lot of people will mention still it as Hyperion MDM job requirement. They will not mention it as Informatica MDM, because a lot of people are still with this version of Hyperion MDM. So when it was Hyperion MDM, that is some 7 years back, 5, 6, 7 years back, a lot of people are still with that version. So they refer that product as still Hyperion MDM. So you can see it's a very simple thing. Address doctor, what it does is it simply validates the address. So you give the names, for example, sorry, not this. Yeah, you can see here. So it's calling this particular function, and you can give any of this. What you can say, you give the parameters here. What is the country? What is the street? What is the house name? What is all those details? You can see this is looks like a bit scary, but you do not have to map all these fields. The reason why this is a bit scary is this supports 240 countries. So for some countries, you have to mention country specific locality line 1, and for some countries you would have to you would have to connect this particular thing. So that depends from country to country, but the output is also slightly complicated. Slightly complicated means there are many different types of outputs. You can I think I've shared this document with you. You can remember this because in interviews you'll get questions. So the output will be valid, and there are many types of validation status: v4, v3, v2, v1, and then this is corrected, then incorrect, or validation error. Many kinds of status it will check, but the basic purpose is to validate if a particular address is correct or not. That's the main objective of an address doctor. And you do not need to concentrate on this first logic trillium SAP data exercise services. This Informatica IDQ is also nowadays it's used because it's a recent addition. This is the integration of IDQ with MDM, but normally this is not a good option. I'll tell you why, because today we are out of time. Tomorrow I'll tell you why this IDQ, what are the main disadvantages of this IDQ. The main disadvantage is performance. Okay, the reason why performance is this has to be called as a web service, and web services are very costly. Okay, so we'll start tomorrow. We'll start from this IDQ. What you do is, as an assignment, you go through this mapping sheet. You try to understand this requirement, because tomorrow we are going to start this mapping sheet. Okay, no, not tomorrow, because it will be day after tomorrow, because we have to understand this cleanse functions, these three cleanse function, graph function, which is not difficult, easily you can understand in tomorrow's class. And regular expression is also you can understand, it's not that important, but it's important. Yeah, but the most important is the cleanse list. That is nothing but your similar to your standardizer in IDQ. So this, to understand this cleanse function, this is slightly complicated, not much. To understand this, what you should do is you go through this PPT. I think here in this first PPT itself, yeah, you can see in page number what is this page number, 39. Okay, page number 39 to 45. Okay, page number 39 to 45, you try to read it recursively. That is, you try to read it 2-3 times. You try to understand all of these options. You can easily understand, especially with these examples, and tomorrow I'll cover so that you can easily understand, and try to complete this first slide. Okay, try to complete this slide. This is actually process server. This is no more called as cleanse match server anyway. Okay, so with that we'll finish the class, and tomorrow we'll start with the cleansing features. Okay, thank you very much.
Sunil, this is Pujita.
Yeah, you Pujita, you call me after 10 my time.
Okay.